Hello everyone, this is Inderpreet Shoker with ARC, and today we are in conversation with Matt Kirchner, Chief Product Officer for APM with Prometheus Group. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. So let's start our conversation by talking about one of the biggest challenges that end users always talk about, and that is unplanned downtime.
Sure.
So would you like to highlight how your company and how your solutions are helping end users with that challenge?
Yes, certainly unplanned downtime is a big issue in our industry. We have one of our products called Prometheus APM that focuses a lot on downtime. It monitors a lot of your process data, so anything from temperatures, pressures, vibrations, all of that information. Monitors it, detects when things are kind of operating abnormally, helps a user diagnose what may be causing those abnormalities, and facilitates a resolution, whether that's downtime and reliability focused or even process performance focused.
Great. Another thing that we often hear from end users is that I have ton of data. But it's not useful to me. I'm not able to draw, actionable insights from it. And they're looking at analytics to help them solve this challenge. Would you like to share your solutions? How do they help, end users with their data challenge?
Yeah, certainly there's an overwhelming amount of data out there. There's kind of two converging problems, right? You have a lot of data, so it feels like you have a lot of opportunity to improve, and you have a big challenge in downtime and process performance. And I think that's where we really try to marry those things. How do you take this mountain of data and consume it in a way that's not overwhelming? How do you build these predictive models efficiently and effectively so that you can really drive some value out of that data and target these other problems without it feeling like a monumental effort?
And there's a lot of hype around AI, machine learning, and analytics. Seems like a thing of the past now.
Yeah.
What about AI and ML? Are you guys thinking of incorporating some of these technologies? How are your end users taking on these technologies? Would you like to share a little bit about that?
Sure. Hype, I think, is the right word. It becomes a little dangerous, and people are out there really thinking, how can I leverage AI? When I think they really should be thinking, what problems do I have? And if AI turns out to be a good solution to those problems, then great, leverage it. But don't go around just looking, looking for a nail with AI. And so we take a pretty pragmatic approach to where does AI solve the real problems that we're having in the kind of APM space. And so the real two focus areas we like to focus on are how do we reduce the amount of time it takes to deploy models and use analytics, and the expertise required to both build out the models and or screen and diagnose those alerts. And so we're really focused on how do we use AI to reduce the time and expertise. And so that kind of manifests itself in a few ways. So we're talking about how do we automate the creation of predictive models? How do we automatically screen out the false positives that the models build? How do we provide diagnostic guidance from the hundreds of thousands of issues that users have resolved in our system? And then how do we kind of initiate the discussion and use large language models to generate content that spark the discussion around how do we go ahead and resolve the issues that were created in the first place?
I absolutely agree with you, Matt. We often say that technology for the sake of technology is not a good strategy. And often we forget about, starting with the problem first,
Right.
and then looking for a solution.
Exactly.
But another thing I want to ask you about is skills gap. We often hear from end users all over the world that they are facing this major workforce issue.
Sure.
Skills gap is a major issue. They are not able to find the right people. If they find the right people, it's tough to train them. Is your solution helping them address some of these challenges as well?
Yeah, so both our software and our services teams kind of help in that regard. So like I mentioned, we have this focus on reducing the time and expertise required, and therefore the less manpower, and less specialized manpower required to leverage our tool. And so we like to build a lot of that in. Another thing is we have this issues management module that kind of builds this knowledge base as you're resolving issues. It's keeping track of what's going on, and so you build some inherent knowledge to your organization that isn't tied to any individual person. And then finally, if you just need some help, filling some gaps, building some of the models, monitoring the data, we have a team of engineers that just provide that monitoring as a service. And so we can kind of supplement the workforce in that regard too.
That's great. Another thing I wanted to ask you about is how end users think that digital transformation, it's a good investment that they should be thinking about, but often there are a lot of challenges around justification. They need to show that there is return on investment, return on asset.
Sure.
And are you able to help them regarding that?
Sure. Yeah. And we face that too. As a vendor, and especially one that has a subscription business model, people are always evaluating, are we getting a return on this, and should we renew the subscription for next year or next term. Now, fortunately, that issues management module I mentioned has this built-in financial impact calculator feature. So every time someone is addressing an issue, they're able to calculate the kind of probability weighted risk or opportunity associated with each individual issue as they're addressing it. And so over time, you get to the end of the year and you say, well, let's just look at the issues we resolved this year. And it's really quick to just say, okay, well, we saved this much and we paid this much. And so it just kind of puts that business case at the forefront and makes it really easy for them to justify.
That's absolutely great. Thank you so much for joining us today, Matt.
You bet. Thank you.
So we were in conversation with Matt Kirchner, Chief Product Officer for APM at Prometheus Group. Thank you for watching.